Story. Once upon a time, there was a bull. A bull was born. It was not much of a birth, no long months of planning, no great anticipation, no patient shaping under loving hands. Scarcely a thought went into the creation of this little bull. Rather, the quick, impersonal movement of a few machines and a trip through a hot oven was all it took for him to be created. There was really nothing to look at, no warmth, no beauty. He was shipped off to a store to be sold. One day, this bull was purchased, not because he was beautiful, but because he was cheap and would serve a purpose, and that he did well. Meal after meal, day after day, he faithfully served, for this was what he felt was his calling. Sometimes after meals, he had to sit for a long time and wait to be cleaned. And by the time it came for him to be cleaned and washed, the water was rather dirty and cold. It was a very unpleasant experience. The girl who washed him would mumble and grumble at her unpleasant chore. Yet through it all, the bull was basically happy as he was able to serve day after day, year after year. One day, the bull's owner walked in with a shiny new bowl. It was lovely with floral designs. She said, "You will serve us well and be pleasant to look at." The first little bowl was picked up along with a few other discarded items and sent away. It was a long journey and rather boring, so the bull slept through most of the trip. When he awoke, he found himself in unfamiliar but loving hands. He was plunged into some nice, sudsy, warm water and given a good bath. For the first time in his life, he enjoyed because it was so refreshing. And the boy who was washing him did not seem to mind, and he was humming merry tunes the entire time. Then he was taken to a nice log building, a gift shop, and placed on the shelf, waiting to be sold. Everything in the shop was donated, and all the monies in the sales went to assist the poor. When he learned this, the bull became very excited. He really wanted to help someone and waited for the chance. But nobody was willing to buy him. Yes, no one seemed to look twice in his direction. He was so plain and ordinary, lacking most elementary charm, while many other items in the store were beautiful. The vase next to him was truly exquisite. It was clear that much time and energy had been put into her creation. Certainly loving hands had created this beautiful vase. It was not long, and she was sold. A little dancing figurine was on his other side. This, too, sold quickly. But the ordinary and plain bowl was repeatedly overlooked and gave up hope of being sold quickly. He settled into the life of the shop. He was cared for, regularly dusted, even given a warm bath periodically. He was content with this life for a while. After a few years, this forced retirement began to wear on him. He was born to serve, and he knew in his heart it was time to get on with his vocation. Still, he waited. Then one day, he heard the shop owner speaking about a boy who needed a wheelchair, but his family could not afford to purchase one. All the monies from the store that day were going to go to that family. The bull was very excited, for he had hoped now would be his chance and again serve. But what could he do? No one even noticed him. Then he heard a woman walking toward him. She looked right at him, smiled, and said, "This is precisely what I want. You are lovely and will do fine job serving my family." The bull was overjoyed. He had never been called lovely. The woman picked him up and took him to the counter to pay. And as she did, the bull passed by a mirror. He was amazed, for truly he was lovely. He was much the same, yet different. It was the same plain design, but now it seemed he sparkled. Indeed, he was radiant. He had never looked that way before. The bull began to realize what had happened. All the love of those in the shop over the years who had dusted him and washed him had suddenly helped him be transformed. Not only could he now serve and realize his dream, but he would give delight by those in his presence as well. All the little bull wanted to do in life was to serve others, a basic tenet of the Christian lifestyle of discipleship. Yet the bull learned that being a servant created many ups and downs, highs and lows in one's life. In other words, serving brings both beauty and a cross. In today's gospel lesson during the Christmas season, it provides us a similar message of that story. 4 people of great faith sought to be disciples and discovered through their endeavors both the beauty and the cross of such a relationship. What is discipleship? It is our response to God who first calls us. And those who accept the call respond in various ways and at different times. Discipleship is called to serve. That is the integral part of being a Christian. Discipleship is sacrificial love. God goes the extra mile for us, then we must do likewise to support his work. Discipleship is martyrdom, not physical, rather spiritual suffering, not counting the cost, but rather continue in faith, confident that discipleship today leads to eternal life tomorrow. Discipleship brings many wonderful and significant privileges. We gain insight and knowledge of God. God is revealed in ways we may not expect through our ability in following him. Discipleship brings wonderful blessings, things simply to go better when Jesus Christ is close to us in our everyday walk, and we realize we don't journey alone. Discipleship offers us opportunities that would not normally come to us, avenues to serve, special opportunities to lift up together in prayer, challenges to engage with others, and events that can bring growth to our spiritual life. Discipleship is not an easy life. It is not intended to be easy. We may not always want to follow, for the cost may be too high. But we must be totally confident that death, that is, our personal crosses, lead to life and the beauty of the resurrection. That's the essence of the Christian message. That's the essence of the discipleship theme that's in our text today. Responding as disciples, Mary and Joseph, they take Jesus to the temple according to what was expected to them as God's people. Simeon, obviously a pious disciple, righteous, devout, had waited for the Messiah. He longed, waiting was somewhat of his cross. Now, however, he comes to the temple and expresses the beauty of his discipleship. He sees Jesus and proclaims his great prayer. He is joyful and grateful for the beauty of his life and the opportunity his discipleship brings to him. And Anna, too, lived a beautiful life of discipleship as wife, but also as well in its cross as widow. Like Simeon, she expresses the great beauty of discipleship through her encounter with Jesus. Joseph, Simeon, Anna clearly demonstrate both the beauty and the cross of discipleship. Mary most clearly and profoundly exemplifies these two seemingly opposing emotions. Chosen by God for her special role in his plan of salvation, she experienced the beauty and the joy of motherhood, although the conditions were hard and primitive even for her day. She accompanies Joseph to the temple and exercises her life discipleship. And Simeon's words to her, "A sword will pierce your heart also," was only the beginning of Mary's spiritual martyrdom. She gives birth to Jesus. She walked along on the road through his ministry, and she stood at the foot of the cross. As the Christmas season unfolds, we too must think about our role in God's master plan. Through baptism, we all have been called into lives of discipleship. The great question before us all, how have I, or how can I respond to the Lord's invitation to experience the beauty and endure the cross of discipleship? Back to the story. The little bowl was nothing fancy, quite ordinary. His goal was not personal. He thought only to serve his owner. He often had to endure hardships, lack of respect, relocation, neglect, lack of attention. Yet, he also experienced the joy and the beauty of life of discipleship. And more, he realized in the end how the suffering and the trials that he endured had transformed him into a beautiful vessel, maybe not aesthetically, but more importantly, inside. Like the little bowl, we must rethink our role as disciples and strive to find the beauty even in the midst of life's heartaches and challenges. God has called each and every one of us personally by name and collectively as his church. May we renew our response to him who first called us to follow. Amen.